Hello Stings. In this video we are going to be looking at solving literal equations. An equation that involves several variables is called a formula or literal equation. So basically a literal equation is a formula. So we have several formulas here that we are going to use in solving for the various variables that they might have. So our first formula is E equals mc squared. And that says that energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. And they want us to solve for mass. So we are looking to solve for m. So we look at what's happening to m. M is being multiplied by c squared. So in order to get the m by itself, all I have to do is the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division, and divide both of the sides of the equation by c squared. So we end up, for mass, we have energy divided by the speed of light squared is equal to mass. For our second example, we have area is equal to pi times the radius squared. So A equals pi r squared, and they want us to solve for r. So we want the r all by itself, not r squared, but r. So for this one, we will rewrite the equation over here. A equals pi r squared. R squared is being multiplied by pi, so I'm going to divide both sides of the equation by pi. The pi's cancel out on the right hand side, leaving A over pi, or area over pi, equals r squared. Well, I've solved for r squared, but I don't have just the radius. So I'm going to bring this up over here. In order to undo squaring, we square root. Remember that square rooting is the inverse operation for squaring. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides of the equation. I'm going to take the square root of area divided by pi, and I'm going to take the square root of the radius squared. So square rooting undoes squaring, so I'm left with the square root of area divided by pi is equal to the radius. In our third example, perimeter is equal to twice the length plus twice the width. So P equals 2L plus 2W. And they want us here to solve for the W. In order to solve for the W, the first thing I need to do is get rid of the 2L. So I'm going to subtract 2L from both sides. So that gives us P minus 2L is equal to 2W. Now, in order to get the W by itself, I need to divide by the coefficient, which is 2. And on the other side, I'm going to divide each term by 2. These 2's cancel out. These 2's cancel out. So what that gives me then is the fraction perimeter divided by 2 minus the length is equal to the width. In our last example, they want us to take the distance formula, which is distance equals rate times time, d equals rt, and solve for r. So we have distance equals rate times time, and I need to keep the r. So what I'm going to do here is divide both sides by t, or the time, so that I have the distance divided by time gives me the rate. I could also solve this equation for time. So I would say d, or distance, equals rate times time. And since I want to keep the t, I'm going to divide by r. So we have distance divided by rate equals time. So here you have 3 different ways to find distance, rate, and time. So these are literal equations. You have to analyze what is happening to the variable that they want you to solve for, and then use inverse operations in order to get that letter by itself.